There can be some helpful signs when identifying if someone displays overt narcissism, or at least those traits. One thing that is often misunderstood is that someone can have traits and not necessarily be a narcissist. In this day and age, this is very common, and in that process, we often inaccurately assign a disorder when really it's just traits. So the first type, which is very common, kind of what the ideal version of a narcissist, if there is one, is these people are very grandiose. They're very enchanted by beauty and wealth and intelligence as a way to receive social accolades. So the basis of a narcissist is that they really don't have much ability to soothe and show up for themselves. So their whole inner well-being is dependent on external forces. So you can imagine that when the external is going to potentially damage them, they're going to fight back at the external. They're going to attack. They're going to bully. They're going to feel superior so that they don't have to feel their own deep sense of inferiority. So this is pretty common, and one thing that can be helpful when dealing with someone who has more overt narcissism is to really identify the patterns that you both get caught up in. So it would be great if the narcissist would change, but that's not very common. And if we decide to maintain a connection, let's say this is a family member or it's a relationship that we want to keep, maybe there are some positives, how do we start to identify social supports that can actually assist us in better dealing with these patterns that are probably going to keep happening? And how do we find our own sense of self-worth in the face of that narcissist? Because in some ways, the victim and the narcissist do have some similarities. I'm not saying that victims are narcissists, but there is some similarities that often the victims of narcissists are very heavy into people-pleasing and not having boundaries. And that is a same coin, different side of the narcissist, where for the victim, their admiration and acceptance from the narcissist is fulfilling their inner world, whereas the narcissist is getting their sense of being so important and so special and so powerful as a way of fulfilling their inner world. So for the victim, if they choose to stay, I'm not encouraging that, but if they do, it's identifying other support systems that can be incorporated into their life so that they can get that needed validation and that needed emotional connection, so that they don't keep looking for it towards the narcissist will continually, let them down. And oftentimes what I notice for people who have had a lot of experience being victimized by narcissists, there's a very similar play of either one or both of their parents having similar aspects and them taking on that role of trying to win over and be good enough for that parent. So it can be really helpful to work on deeper inner child work so that we can heal those wounds that take over at times in relationship to these type of people.